Alrighty. This is my review for the season or series finale of Euphoria. I guess some people may be feeling a sense of euphoria finishing this series. Pun intended. What I will say is this. Did I enjoy it? Yes. I am someone who actually really liked this last season, despite, maybe some criticisms, but I did enjoy this series finale. What I will say is this. I can't lie and say I feel like maybe I wanted a tiny bit more, and I'm trying to figure out what was that. What was more that I wanted from this? What was more? I don't think there's more. It, it was exactly what it needs to be. I didn't even look at the runtime. I didn't realize it was an hour and 30 minutes, which I did not mind at all. I kind of wished it was 2 hours because I wanted them to kind of go a little bit deeper into some of the other side character stories just a little bit more. Now it makes sense why the last episode they brought back Rue's friend. I'm forgetting his name, but he's basically the main character of this last episode. I'm forgetting his name, but the guy who was a drug addict and he was like Rue's Rue's light in the dark. He led AA and all this other stuff. I know his real name. I'll just say Coleman Domingo. I forgot his character name, but Coleman Domingo. Yeah, so I love this ending for him. And I love that he didn't just go to the cops and go to jail. That would have kind of pissed me off. I was kind of ready for that. I thought that was going to happen. But I'm happy that like he just got away clean. And it seems like he just wants the place where Rue said that she wanted to go back. He went to the homestead and had a prayer. That was a great ending. That was a great ending to me. What I will say is that when they showed Jules, I instantly was like, I'm done with Jules. Don't show me her. I don't care. I don't care anymore. And you know what it is? Now I kind of realize what it is that I wanted that I didn't really get. Is I wanted to see more of the fallout. When Rue is gone, I wanted to see people's reactions like to her gone. Like, I'm not saying I want to see people scream and cry, but I kind of do. Like, I just wanted to see the real-time reaction of when she passed and people talking about it. But they skipped like, I think 3 or 4 months ahead, which helped the story, but I think that's what I was thinking about. That's the little bit of catharsis that I didn't get, which was when Rue passed, we didn't get to see Jules' initial reaction. We didn't get to see like the people around her initial reaction, which I think would have been good. But ultimately, I did enjoy it. What I will say is this I love the way they did it because the kind of like dream scenario she was going through, when I was watching it, I was kind of getting upset because I'm like, why did they bring the Fez back up? Like, we know we miss him. It sucks that he passed in real life, but I was like, why do you keep reminding us? We already got past the mourning stage. Why are you making us be sad again? And then I realized, okay, like, I don't know who thought it was a dream. I didn't know it was a dream until like right when it showed you it was a dream. They did a really good job at like making us feel like this was really the story. Because I was watching, I was like, dang, I was like, why is Rue running from the cops? Why is she doing all this crazy stuff? And then when she started reaching the hand out, I was like, oh boy, they're doing it. They're actually gonna do it. And I like the fact, well, I don't like the fact, but I guess I can appreciate the fact that her overdose wasn't it wasn't on purpose. The pill bottle was still full. It was because it had fentanyl in it, and that's why the guy tested it. He had a tester. At first, I got scared because I thought he was about to ingest some of the drugs and take himself out along with Rue, like on some like Romeo and Juliet or something, because he like really missed her. I thought that was gonna happen, but then I realized, okay, it said negative. It showed that there was fentanyl in there. So she is interesting because it's almost a karmic thing because she in the very first episode, she brung the drugs over. She was a drug mule. And then a stripper, she was doing it thinking she's partying, whatever, and then she got taken out by the fentanyl. Then in the last episode, Rue takes one little thing from what's his name? From Alamo, and then now that has fentanyl. Now she's gone. So it's just kind of like a karma. It's interesting. It's interesting the way it all happened, if you really want to look at it that way. But I didn't expect it to be like that. But I think her send off was actually beautiful because you got to see like her dreams. She was like in a dream state, thinking she was gonna see Fez again and see her mom and all these different things. And it was like, you know, in a way, it sucks that she's gone, but then it's like it's peaceful. Like at least, like even I think even I almost remember his name right now. Even Coleman Domingo said it. He said like, at least she's at peace. She's in a better place, hopefully, you know. And yeah, but they did that. They did a great send off, and it made me feel happy. Like not happy, but like because Nate is gone and now Rue. I was like, okay, this show has stakes. You know what I mean? It already showed me it has stakes. But I just respect the fact that they actually did it. They went through with it. It was the natural cause of events. It was all leading up to this. Like she's gone, and some people might be sad, but that was the natural cause. You know what I mean? Like people might say the show glorifies violence, glorifies drugs, whatever, but it shows the progression. It shows it. You know, and they talk about addiction, and I like that about it. You know, it's real. So that's what I'll say there. Dang, but yeah, that's what I'll say there. And I'm very curious to see how people are gonna feel about Rue's passing, but they shouldn't be surprised. I feel like the whole season was leading. At least this whole season was kind of leading us there. You know, so if someone's surprised, then you know it's still sad, but it's the natural progression. And I like the way um, Coleman Domingo talks about addiction and different things like that. And it's just sad. It's just sad. It's just sad, and it's just crazy because I don't want to say it, but you know, this is what I'll say. It's just crazy because sometimes in life, you're in positions where you might be at a party, you might be wherever, you might be with a pretty girl, and like they might pull out some stuff. You know, I don't really do too much stuff because I've seen too many people, you know, around me in my life, you know, go down destructive paths. So that's why I don't really partake in that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But the point is, I like a little CBD here and there. That's all I'll say. But the point is, like, I just think, just like I could say this just as an example. I remember when I was in Brooklyn. I was in New York. I was in Brooklyn, and I was outside this party or this club or whatever. He was going in, and I was talking to this cool guy on the line, and he was just super cool. You know what I mean? And like and he just I looked like he was smoking weed or something. I think he was smoking weed. He's smoking a joint, and then he's like, hey, you want some? And I was like, nah, I'm good right now, you know. But he was super cool. We was having a good conversation. And then when we get into the place later on, he's like, oh, telling me like how like it has angel dust, and he's like, oh, he loves it like that. But he didn't tell me that when we was on the line. You know what I mean? What if I was just like, you know what I mean? And then it's just interesting how like a small thing could affect your life in a way that you might not know. I mean, maybe that doesn't affect him, but what if it affected me in a certain way? You know what I mean? And it's just crazy because she didn't do it on purpose. And I thought that maybe that's what she was gonna do, but she didn't. She didn't do it on purpose. She put her headphones on, she was still listening to the Bible. She was, you know what I mean? And it got her. It got her. And I think that's just the poeticness of it because she brung it in the beginning. Someone got taken out from it, and now she same way. And I just love that Coleman Domingo. I love how he's sawing off the shotgun, and I'm like, I see where this is headed. I see where this is headed. And I like how he dresses up for it, or I believe that was his old uniform. But he did his thing. He did his thing, you know. And he's like, who sent me? Rue sent me, and like everyone could hear it. And I was just like, okay, good. And in a way, you know, he said in his meeting, he said, this is the last meeting I'm doing because he wants to put his talent somewhere else. He says, there's somewhere else I could be effective. And he's right. You know, I mean, you could call him a vigilante. You could say that was wrong what he did. It was against the law. But the point is, he saved a lot of girls by doing that. He really did. Because now Maddie and Cassie, they're basically free now. So that's good. They don't have $1 million debt. They could, you know, be entrepreneurs and on their own right, and maybe learn from this going forward and not mess around with someone else like Alamo. So that's good. And then maybe some other girls he might have saved who knows, man. But dang, I mean, yeah, and Maddie, like he's saying he wants some Cocoa Babies with Maddie. He's talking about settling down. Like he should have been did that. Like, but you know what I love? I love before he gets taken out. I love when he's talking to Maddie about his love for, you know, when women open up. And I love him talking about that because he kind of prides himself on, okay, I'm not going to let anyone control me. I'm not going to let anyone control me. So I'm going to be the one controlling them. But if you look at his business model with the strippers and everything like that, yeah, he's in his mind, he's thinking he's the ringleader, he's controlling it, but he's still in a way a slave to it. You know what I mean? And he wants to not be a slave to it. So I like that kind of, I like that, I like that kind of like realization. He's not a really realization. I'm sure he's thought about that before, but I like that he kind of verbalizes it to Maddie, so we could kind of understand that a little bit before he gets taken out. And he's a cheater, man. This guy, I should have known he's a cheater, but I really thought he said a word is bond, and it wasn't bond for him. And I was just like, he was gonna take him out before Coleman Domingo was gonna lift the shotgun. Coleman, he even waited for the glass to break and do it like a real man. And I was actually a little bit surprised about that. I thought that maybe, I don't know, I should have never believed that Alamo would even do that. But I just felt like he is such like a cowboy, like he would actually want to go out that way. But he was not honorable in his last moments for sure. So I'm glad he got all those shots to him. And then also, one thing I think about is his right hand man. His right hand man with the fro. I forgot his name, but he's a great actor. Um, he took out the bullets. And in my mind, I'm like, you could have left him one bullet, if you wanted to give him a chance. But he took out all the bullets. So he must have some reservations about his position, about a lot of different things. And yeah, that was his choice. His choice was to do that to him. Like, I mean, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect him to do him like that. But I think he's the type of person where he probably wanted out of that life, and maybe that was his moment to say, okay, this is a clean way out. I see where things are headed. I'm out of this. And yeah. And then lastly, I gotta say, the girl with the big lips, I'm forgetting her name, Faye, and her man, they got out, and they just chilling out. They just gonna have a life or whatever, have some babies. So that's cool for them. But I thought that they were gonna like come out of nowhere and like go after Alamo or something, but they didn't. They just got away. So that's cool there. Lori's death was like, dang, she planned that out. She had a rope on the roof ready to go. But she said it when she saw those lights, those red, white, and blue lights. She said, I can't go to jail. I'm not going to jail. That's like not her life. She's like weak-minded, but she does all these, she's like the leader of a lot of things, but she has like this mind where she knows she's not going to be good in prison. So she, I guess, is strong-minded in a way because she takes her own, it takes a strong person to actually make that decision and do it and not punk out at the top of the roof. But that was like an insane scene. Like she just jumped and she said, and that was it. And if you look closely, I'm pretty sure you could see it was either poop or it was blood. But I know they say when people are get asphyxiated or when they're hung, like either they poop their pants or something like that. And it seemed like that's kind of what it was, but because it was like a splat. But it was just like, wow, like she did it. She said she's not going to jail. She didn't. She went out on her own terms. And I think that's the only thing I could say that might have been not satisfying, not to see her in cuffs, not to see her actually go to jail and actually have to deal with the ramifications of her actions and the life that she chose to live. So yeah, that's the only thing. But it was still satisfying in a way that everything like went down. The series of events, how it all played out. But it would have kind of been pretty satisfying to see at least one of these characters in jail behind a cell, like looking at, dang, like this is their life now. That kind of would have been satisfying as well. But yeah, she went out on her own terms, that's for sure. But I'm trying to think about anything else that might need to tie up. I like that Cassie and her sister have that conversation. That was cool. They had a conversation about Rue and a lot of different things. So that's cool. That's cool. I think ultimately it was a satisfying conclusion. It was a satisfying conclusion. And I'm trying to think about if there's any characters we're missing. I think they really tied up pretty much everything. I think that's pretty much it. I just think that, I don't know. Oh yeah, I just think that like I said, we didn't see the actual initial aftermath of Rue's passing. We didn't get to see the actual, like, right after Jules' response. I just want to see people's response. I want to maybe see a funeral, you know what I mean? Like, little pieces, little stuff. And one thing I gotta mention is Jules. Jules drew this photo, and someone could tell me if I'm wrong or not, but Jules drew this photo of Rue. It was supposed to be a beautiful thing. And it was beautiful for one split second until I realized that she used so much orange around Rue's body. It looked like Rue was in hell. Did anyone else think that? I was like, what? I was like, it looks nice, but it looks like she's burning in hell. I was like, I did not like seeing that. I was just like, no, you should have made it blue. You should have made it pink, something. Like, it looked like she was burning. I was like, no, I don't, that's not what my last memory of Rue needs to be. So I'm happy we got the ending of Coleman Domingo going to the homestead and making that prayer. And I think that was a beautiful ending. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's over. It was a journey. It was a journey. Is Deja know the name? Spread love and light. And how shall we sign off? I don't know how we're going to sign off. You know what? We'll do a slash. No, wait. We'll sign off with a Coleman Domingo shotgun for Alamo.